Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to F1 2020, here for the start of Season 3 of My Team Career Mode. And we start off the episode by choosing our rival. We've got a pretty easy selection of rivals to choose from actually, so I'm going to go with Hamilton. The reason I say easy is because we didn't lose all too much pace in between seasons. If you haven't checked out the inter-season video, do go check out that video. It goes through the sponsors, the engine, we're signing, the new drivers. You can see Daniel Ricciardo is now our teammate. Just basically doing all the housekeeping stuff between seasons. And yeah, we didn't lose too much pace. We've got a very good car underneath us. We're starting off the season here in Australia, getting out of Q1. First, well, the only time we're going to do is an 18-1. We don't really need to go and do another lap. As you can see, there was actually, cut it pretty close. I say pretty close. There's still 5 temps between myself and the person in 17th. So don't really need to worry about that all too much. Just pull a bit of pace out the bag. But what is interesting about this season is it's going to be the toughest season ever that I've done because of, well, one aspect, and it's my teammate. Ricciardo is stupidly quick. It's not just Ricciardo either. All the AI seem to be really quite overpowered in a way. What I've noticed is I typically have to run a lot higher downforce setups for this career mode car. And when I say high downforce setups, I'm talking like running 511 at Belgium just to be even close to the AI's pace, because they gain like a second and a half through the middle sector, just because of how they handle the car being faster. Now obviously I've sort of tried to counter this a bit by as we don't improve, actually qualify P16 for Australia, so we're not off to a good start here, as I'm talking about what the season's going to be like. But yes, the AI seem to have really good strength and speed and ridiculously overpowered cornering speeds as well, so it's a very vexing situation to be in. And it's been a great season to race, and it'll be a good season hopefully for you to watch. So Australia's round 1. It's not a particularly strong track for me, so I'm gonna, well, obviously I want to at least get points. I'm aiming for, top 5 every race, given the car we have is effective, top 4, and just with my pace I'd hope for top 5. So let's just try and improve on qualifying in the race. So after rambling on the intro and not focusing on the actual video itself, we're going to do that. We're going to be doing what looks like a 1-stop. Honestly, I don't remember. I don't think we're doing a 1-stop. I think we're doing a 2-stop. By the looks of it. Or I might try and stretch a 1-stop. I'm looking here, and the soft to medium strategy is viable. It is faster, and will have decent tyre wear for it. This car is getting pretty decent on tyre wear, fuel wear, ERS consumption, so it's one stops are going to be more common now. It looks like we are going to go for the one stop. Stopping onto mediums about halfway through the race, and as we've got 5 red lights, it's lights out and away we go. From P16 on the grid, we get a very good start compared to Verstappen, but he covers us off on the inside, so we're going to switch it to the outside hopefully. And there's a very, very small amount of room though, but we managed to just about make our car fit in the gap between Verstappen and Matsushita, who's managed to wiggle his way into a Red Bull seat somehow. Now we're getting attacked from Magnussen behind. We're going to dive up the inside of Verstappen here, going into turn 3, hopefully get the position from him. And unfortunately we're not, he out tractions us. Maybe try and go around the outside, but unfortunately we were unable to do so. What I want to aim to do is to make sure I don't burn my tyres and ERS like straight away. We've got to keep some of it in reserve for later on, because I'm suspecting the AI will do softs to hards, or they'll do a 2-stop. So yeah, I've got to save my tyres. If we are going to be stretching these softs to potentially lap 11, 12, I think it said, we'd definitely have to keep them in check. Obviously if the tyre gets too bad, we can always do a 2-stop or a 1-stop onto hards. We get our first track limits warning. Obviously I haven't raced at Australia since season 1, so the setup is not as good, and I'm still getting used to this car, and the whole the massive change in setups you have to do, because I never realised we dive with inside of Verstappen there going into the penultimate corner. Hopefully we can make this stick, because we've been stuck behind him for an entire lap, and it's getting a bit annoying because we leave him space on the inside, but unfortunately he runs into the side of us there. I don't really see why, as we now get a safety car. So we could take this opportunity to pit and go on to mediums, or we could take this opportunity to stay out and hope that some of the AI pit. And I believe I'm going to elect to stay out, keep all the track position. We didn't catch the start of the incident, but as you can see there, I've left him plenty of space on the inside. Even if you look back at where the corner was, there was plenty of room for Verstappen, but whatever, he decided not to. Giovinazzi and De Vries got a 5-second penalty for some stupid Codemasters collision as we get underway again for green flag racing. And we lost out a bit to Matsushita ahead. Now obviously this safety car has definitely helped us out a little bit in our pit stop or our strategy, because now we can easily make it to lap 11 on softs and maybe go a bit further. And we gained a position on our teammate, who decided to pit for mediums. And I guess that sort of makes sense if he had qualified on them, but then again, I don't really see why on lap 1, given that this will just become a massive DRS train. As you can see at the end of lap 5 here, the gap, we've broken out 4 seconds to Nick De Vries behind us in the Williams, and my teammate's currently caught up in that kerfuffle. As you can see there, he's 5 seconds behind us after a couple of laps. So yeah, not doing too well. But yeah, anyway, that's his problem as we dive inside of Matsushita. Hopefully we can make it stick. We go around the outside of him, and we do have P11. So we are making decent progress in this race. Obviously, I know from this point I knew from this race that my main challenges would be Mercedes, but I knew that with the amount of development the car will have and how strong this team is, as we dive up the inside of Norris here into turn 3. I know that I'm going to overtake Mercedes at some point in the development race. It's pretty much a given at this point, given how much we've expanded our R&D capacity and our facilities, that we can just dump so many resource points into making this car an absolute beast. So my main competition this year is going to be with my teammate. Obviously we are aiming to get both the drivers and the constructors championships, so hopefully we'll be able to do that unless Mercedes decide they want to pull out some magical 4 ultimate upgrades for this season. They want to do that as we get around the outside of Charles Leclerc there. I'm not really paying much attention to this race. I'm sort of babbling on really, because it's a pretty dull race despite the amount of overtakes we're making. As we're going to be finishing off lap 8 here, going on to lap 9 as we've got Carlos Sainz in the pits as well alongside Alex Albon. Hopefully going to make a move on Stroll around the outside into turn 1. Not a particularly good overtaking opportunity, but we managed to make it stick. And inevitably there's contact between myself and the AI, so we're going to have to take a quick look at this, see who's at fault here. Again, I believe I left him room on the inside, but you never know. One thing I've noticed as well, you can see that Stroll is twitching so much, and I could have left him a bit more room. As I'm going to slow it down here, he isn't turning or braking as much as he could be. He's still trying to take the corner as he normally would, and there is still room there to get a car through, or Stroll just backs out of it. That's my point of view on it anyway. I guess I'm a little bit to blame as well that I turned in across him so much, but then again, when he's weaving that much under braking or like twitching, it's just, yeah, I don't really know. But anyway, lap 10 there, some more people pitted and now going on to start lap 11. We've got some more people coming in to pit onto the hard compound tyres, i.e. that's been Valtteri Bottas. And here on lap 13, we've extended our pit window a couple of laps extra to make sure we can get to the end on the set of mediums that we will be putting on. We'll be able to actually make it, and we are going to, as we're going to fall probably down to P7, hopefully, or maybe P6 behind Jack Aitken. But we're going to have to fight our way back from here, as I believe Jack has to pit again, and so too does my teammate actually. So we've got 16 laps till the end. And I've got to make up to Hamilton at least 7.6 seconds, and I will be on mediums, he'll be on hards, and it'll be around lap 21, 22 when the pace of my mediums starts to dive and his pace on hards gets a lot better. As we try to set the fastest lap of the race, we do a personal best of a 21.0, but that's nowhere close to fastest lap, I believe. As Ricciardo pits onto a fresh set of mediums. He's currently 5.6 seconds behind us as Jack peels off into the pits, which gives us a podium position. And with 13 laps to go, Hamilton is 5.5 seconds up the road. So we've got to get a wriggle on here, as we will have Ricciardo bearing down on us at a fast rate of knots on those fresh mediums. So he maybe wants to watch out for the end of this race, but he might get bottled up behind Kvyat just long enough that we'll actually keep him behind. And that was the race, literally, that nothing happened in those last few laps. I pushed and pushed and pushed to catch up to Hamilton as we get a 3-second time penalty, so that's going to maybe prove troublesome if we don't get a good second and final sector, because Ricciardo is 3.8 seconds behind us, but it doesn't look like he's going to close up all too much. I don't think he'll close up a second in the final sector. But yeah, we got close to Hamilton. I believe we got to a point where we were within a second, but he just pulled out. He had extra pace on those hards at the end, maybe saved a bit more ERS than we did. So it's going to be a Mercedes 1-2 to start off Season 3. So it is looking like there could be championship challenges, but we will have a lot of upgrades in the pipeline as Valtteri sets a new fastest lap of the race, a 20.6, and then Hamilton goes and steals it right at the end of the session. And yeah, we end up coming from 16th to 3rd, so I'm definitely very happy with that at a track I'm, pretty new at. To be fair, I haven't done much running at Australia over the course of this game, so very happy with that result. It's a decent way to kick off the season. So as you can see there, nothing much really happened. The only people that improved massively were myself, Kvyat and Norris, all improving a decent amount of positions. Ricciardo having an abysmal day. Looks like his Australia curse is continuing, not being able to get a win at this track or even on the podium, thanks to his strange strategy. I don't know what he was thinking. He basically gave away a free pit stop for that, or over a free pit stop. So he comes in 4th, obviously standings are as they finished, and we're on 27 points for the constructors. So I'd say a decent start. Obviously not in the rivalry. Hamilton's clapping us in the rivalry, so hopefully we can turn that around. The next race we are at is the Dutch Grand Prix. Obviously I went over this in the inter-season video. I'm adding in all the tracks that I haven't done or didn't do in Season 2, so that'll be Australia, Spain, Azerbaijan, Russia, Japan, and Abu Dhabi. I think it may have been one more that I don't remember. Anyway, so we've got those races in, and I decided to pick 10 other tracks that would be good for racing, which should allow me to hopefully go for the title, but also provide some decent, races. Because I don't want to just pick like Monaco 10 times over. As we're fixing our R&D parts that failed. We've got one more engine upgrade to do. We're going to be pretty much working on all of the departments at once. We're going to focus a bit on durability as well, just because we don't want that to hinder us this season, as it did, or as I believe it did last season. Obviously, kind of my fault for doing that, but anyway, we should ignore that. We're just sort of housekeeping here. I'm moving far too fast to see like what I'm even doing here, but yeah, we're playing the upgrades, and before the next race, I believe we're actually going to jump to the top of the performance charts as we're getting a new sponsor on the car. I don't know who I'm going to go for. I think it might be Zanzare. Achieve at least one podium, I think, is definitely doable. So yeah, I think coming into Netherlands, we do actually have the best car by, I wouldn't say a considerable margin. I honestly can't remember. I've just been so, embroiled in doing season 3 that I haven't really noticed or remembered what we've been doing. I think, we are actually at the top there from the small glimpse I caught of the R&D standings. So hopefully we will be able to pull away quite heavily from Mercedes and make it just a 2-horse race between myself and Ricardo. You can see that we are top on every single department apart from durability. Our chassis and aero is extremely good. Our engine, not so much, but then again, we don't have the fuel efficiency upgrades and the ERS upgrades that do improve our race pace to a degree. Not that I really need it, given that I can manage those sort of things. But anyway, that was the start of season 3. A very good start to the season. Well, it could have been better in terms of qualifying, but we pulled it back in the race, so I guess overall a pretty decent start to the season. I guess we try and move forward from this, build up some momentum. Let me know if you think we'll be able to win the championship this year. Let me know how you think we'll do in Netherlands, where you think we'll come in the standings. Will it be myself or Ricardo? Because Ricardo was looking very strong in qualifying, lapping on the same pace as the Mercedes with a worse car, so maybe Ricardo's going to be a dark horse and maybe get his first championship, but who knows. Let me know what you think, and I'll catch you for some more F1 2020 content very soon.